Geometry classes. Good to be with you again. I wish you were in the classroom, but obviously you are in your homes. Today we're going to talk about blocks and what we can do with blocks and maybe why you were supposed to play with them when you were a young child. So these are the types of blocks a lot of you played with. So if I took this block, okay, there you go. And if I stacked it on top of that one, they don't stack perfect because it's just pictures. And I did this. And then somebody said, how many blocks do you have? That one's not gonna go there very well. And they said, how many blocks do you have? You'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd have some 5. And a lot of times, again, you'd try to stack them. I can't get this one always wants to go behind. So you can see I'm struggling with playing with my blocks. So anyhow, playing with blocks. So now what are we going to do with that? We're going to take those blocks and we're going to put them inside things, and then we're going to count them again. So this time I stacked them in. And inside this cube, that blue cube, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could fit more in there, but as you can see, I'm struggling making it look right. So, but you could say there's 7 cubes inside. That's volume. Volume is how many cubes fit inside of a shape. And so you're going to have to figure that out. How many of these cubes fit inside of a shape? Now, sometimes the cube is going to be 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. Sometimes it's going to be a centimeter by a centimeter by a centimeter, or whatever. And so you have to read your label, and so you know how to answer it. So we say volume, and here's the formula. V equals big BH. By now you should know that big B means the area of the base. You should know that H is perpendicular to the base, and it's the distance between the two bases on this one. Now when we get done and we put all the cubes inside, you're going to have to give it a label. I'm going to move that over there. Let me get some writing equipment here. This thing is just in my way. Maybe I'll scoot it over there. Tried moving that to the bottom thinking I'd like it better, but that might be irritating. So I'm going to go back to this other picture for a bit. And if you looked at this one, you said, well, how many cubes are in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's say I told you they're a foot by a foot. You would label it foot, and you'd put a cube here because that's how many cubes. You'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 feet cubed, which means there's 7 cubes. Each cube is a foot by a foot by a foot. And we put this up there to say that's what it is. They are cubes. Now in math, mathematicians rarely want to draw a cube every time. So they're not going to. They're going to put a number. And I'm guessing you know what that number is. Cube is 3. I prefer to see the cube once in a while because it tells me that you understand what you're finding inside that shape. You are finding cubes. How many cubes fit inside that shape? Now, something that is going to seem odd for some of you is even in a shape with this round, we still put cubes. We still put straight cubes. We don't put little cylinders. We put cubes inside cylinders. We put cubes inside this pentagonal prism. We always put cubes inside. So your answer is always going to be to the power of 3 because it's 3-dimensional stuff that we are putting inside of our shapes. Now, as I understand most of you, you do best by doing a problem. So I'm going to do problem 1, and then you're going to do problem 2, and we're going to kind of switch off. And there's kind of a lot of them, but this might be your homework too. I'm not saying for certain because sometimes by the time I get done, I change my mind. So I look at this shape and I think, what is the name of that shape? Well, it looks like it's 7 by 7 on the bottom, so it must be a square. And the bottom would be this down here. See that bottom? So it's a square prism. So my formula is always V equals BH. Big B, area of base. Well, the base is a square, so the area of a square is base times height. Area is 7 times 7. Most of you would not need to write that down. 49 centimeters squared, because it's still area. So for my big B, I write a 49. And the height, oh, that's the distance up. So I put a 4 there. Then I take my calculator, which I'm going to do. I have to do these problems as I go. 49 times 4, and I get 196. And the label is centimeters cubed. Okay. So the next one, I'm going to get you started, and from now on, you're going to do a lot of these, but I'll do some talking in between all of them too. I wish I would have brought this up. You know, on your salmon colored paper, you have formulas. We're moving down to the next one. Hopefully you have this out. Volume of cylinders and prisms. V equals capital BH. Make sure you put a capital B because it's area of the base. Okay, so now let's go back and look at number 2. And I'm going to get you started. You always start by writing your formula. And the second thing you do is name the shape. Now on there, because all sides are rectangles, doesn't really matter which side you choose, but I'm going to choose this as my base. So area of that base is 11 times 8 would be 88. And the height is 4. Multiply that out and make sure you choose the right number and the right label for your answer. Okay, let's do a cylinder. Cylinders in my world have the same formula. I'm going to show you a way that some of the authors will write it a little different. Volume equals capital BH. Area of the base times the height. Because the base is round, some people immediately write pi r squared h. In a lot of formula sheets in math, this is how you will see it written. This is simpler for me to teach from because capital B is the base is round, that's the area of the round base. I don't care which way you do it, I'm hoping you get the right answer. So on this one, you find the round base, and you say, I need the area of that. Area of round is pi r squared. Pi, we're going to put in 3.14. I'm just going to write it as pi. The radius is 6, and you square it. So you take your calculator. You only square the 6, and then you multiply it to the pi. So you get 113.09 or 0.1. I leave the big number in my calculator, so I'm not rounding it off on my calculator. My height is the distance between my bases, that's a 5. You're going to, you should be able to get that answer, multiply the 2, get the appropriate label on the end. Finish that up. Okay, I want you to do number 4 all by yourself, just talking about it. Notice that the diameter is 24. You're only going to use half of it for the radius. On your sheet of paper, you should be writing down the formula, plugging the numbers in, and finding the answer. So do number 4 by yourself. And, whoops. Then we go to number 5. So, name the shape. The side that's not a rectangle is the triangle, so it's a triangular prism. Notice that 90-degree angle there, we're going to have to pay attention to that. So we're going to do volume, volume, capital BH. My base is a triangle. I'll trace it for you. There's one base. So on the side, I do 1/2 the base times the height. That's how I find the area of a triangle. A 1/2 is still a 1/2. Now the base and height have to be 90 degrees apart. So you'll see the 6, that's the 10, and that's the 8. So which two do you use? You use the two that are 90 degrees apart. So you use the 6 and the 8. So 1/2 times 6 times 8. And you should get 24. So over here, then you put the 24 in for your capital B, and then your height. I hope you know what it is. I hope you know that's the 3. That's the distance between the two triangles. And you'll get the answer. And then you should, when you get done with that, you're going to do the next one on your own. Okay, let's do this one. This one is I look at these, always the wrong thing. I should switch colors again. We'll go a little purple. Okay, where's the base? That's this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Hexagonal prism. Formula, same as before. Capital BH. Big B means area of base. You take your salmon paper and it'll say to find the area of a hexagon, it's 1/2 apothem times perimeter. The apothem on this one is 9.5. Now the perimeter is all the way around that shape. Well, if one side's 11 and there's tick marks, 11 times 6, you would get 66. So then you take your calculator and you'd go, the way I do it on my calculator, I go 9.5 times 66, and then I divide it by 2, and I get 313.5. I'm going to put that in for the big B. 313.5. The height is the distance between the hexagons. Let's see, that's the 5. Multiply those out, put the correct label, and you are going to do the next one by yourself. Okay, we're up to the one with 5 sides. What color should I use now? I've used most of the colors. Go back to blue. Okay, so what's my base? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a pentagon. So it's a pentagonal prism. Volume equals capital BH. It's just like doing a hexagonal prism. Just different title for how you name it. Big B is a pentagon. To do the area of a pentagon, 1/2 apothem times the perimeter. 1/2 is 1/2. What's the apothem? Oh, that's the 6.2. What's the perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around the base. 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. 45. Calculator. Plug that in. Put it in for the big B. Put it right here where I put that square. That's where you're going to put that answer. And then the height is going to be this 9. So you're going to multiply by 9, get your answer, appropriate label, and away you go. And then you're going to do number 10. Okay, that's the 10 questions I have. If you really struggled with it, I want you to be able to retake this. The only way you can redo an Edpuzzle is if I just send it out to you. So I might be putting out another link of the same Edpuzzle, and you should just go through it again. so that you can get a certain percentage so we can start counting it as homework. So hang in there. Volume is easier than surface area, but it doesn't mean that you love it. You just do your best with it and get your answers. So talk to you soon.